Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Diva, and you're here at To Woo For You. Now, I recorded this video, and I'm re-recording it now because I recorded the whole 30-minute video, not realizing that my microphone died. And so the entire video has no audio. So here we are again. I'm going to be talking about Oracle deck, and this is one I have used before, but we're going to go through and we're going to take a look at it. I will see if I can find it where you can get it, because I get asked a lot, especially about this deck. If there's a link, I'm not affiliated. There is no deal, I wish. So if I find anything and post it in the description, that's not affiliated to me. I am just helping you if you come to find that you really like this deck and you want to use it. So this is an Oracle deck, and you'll notice that most of these videos that either I have done or will be doing will be mainly Oracle decks, because I don't generally use tarot a whole lot. And there's reasons for that. One, I don't know tarot. And I don't use any of these cards in my readings. I don't need them. The only time I'll use an Oracle deck in a reading is sometimes I'm drawn to a particular deck for somebody specific who's coming, and I don't even need to know them for a deck to feel like it needs to be pulled for that reading. And then we will, at the end of the reading, pick a card if they so desire that. And they have the option to say yes or no. And 99.999% of the time, the card that is pulled and I let them take charge of that, it usually sums up everything we have talked about in the reading. It's quite freaky. Like, you can't make that stuff up. So that is when I might use an Oracle deck in a reading, and that's not even always the case. So Oracle decks I really enjoy, and I think if you want to learn more about how to use them, you want to tune in to the series that I'm starting in divulging what these decks have to offer, what they look like, are they worth it? Because I have a bit of an addiction. These are all, other than my crystal collection here, these are all Oracle decks. Couple tarot decks in there in the mix, but I think I have 2 tarot decks, and I don't even know how many. I haven't counted. It's probably best I don't. But this is a great way to get started, to tap into your own intuitive abilities. And it's really how I sort of expanded my communication, because most of what I did was communicating with spirits and ghost hunting and paranormal stuff. So getting into the cards, it's probably been, I don't know, probably within the last decade that I've dabbled with the cards, and I've experimented with what they do, what they bring, how I can use them. Do I use them? So it's a really good way to tap into your own intuitive abilities and practice. So we're going to get started on this one. So the reason I chose this one, like I said, many people, when I have done posts, which is mainly what I use the Oracle decks for, is for collective readings. When I've done posts, people are like, oh my gosh, that deck is amazing. Where did you get it? And to be honest, I can rarely remember where I get any decks, because, did I mention I have it? Yeah. Where this is from, I have no idea. I've had this for so long, I couldn't tell you where this is from. I will search, see if I can find it. But a lot of people asked for this deck in particular, and let me show you why. Because when I open it, there is a guidebook, which a lot of Oracle decks have. And these are great also as you get to know your deck and use your deck, but they are circular cards. And so everybody's like, ooh, those are different. And they want to know where I got them. But there's many reasons why I was attracted to this deck, why I bought this deck, and there are cards stuck in here. So let me get those out. So the reason I like these, one, yeah, the novelty, they are round, so that's fun. But I really loved the imagery on these cards. They're so beautiful. And I think it's like crystals. We are attracted to the energy of some decks. And I know there's a myth out there that decks have to be gifted to you. That's not true. Because if that were the case, I wouldn't have any. Nobody's ever gifted me a deck. So, no. You can get your own. And I've gotten rid of decks because they just didn't resonate with me. They just didn't feel right. And if they don't feel right, don't use them, because you're not going to get the best outcome if they don't resonate with you. But I loved the imagery on these cards, as you can see. So beautiful, simple. It's not anything ornate. It's just simple and beautiful. So that was really what attracted me to this deck in the first place. And I'll mention that this deck is created by Amira Ceylon. I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly. Again, I will put the information down in the description. The illustrations are by Sarah Maftoum. Again, I hope I'm saying that right. But really gorgeous design. The guidebook, very simple and easy, very short descriptions of what the cards mean. And we're going to go through, and I will do a collective reading, but I want you to stay tuned to the end because I'm actually going to do an interview with the cards. And yes, I said that right. I am going to be interviewing these cards. I have a set of 3 questions that I'm going to be asking the cards, and we'll see if we get an answer. So stay tuned. This could get interesting. I've never done it before, except when I recorded the last video that didn't work. So I've never done it where the public has seen it. So we're going to see what it says. We'll see where it goes. If you like this content, please be sure to give me a like, and if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button, follow me along, hit the bell for notifications so that when I post again, you know it. And I'm going to ask you to hold me to task. Remind me if a video hasn't come out in a while, because I get caught up in life, and I need to start posting more regularly. I need to take this seriously. I'm going to ask you, hold me to task if you want. Shoot me a message, say, Diva, get on it. Where's the next video? So we'll be in this journey together. So what I do before any reading using these cards is I like to clear the energy, even if they've just been sitting on a shelf. And up until today, I probably haven't used these cards in at least 2 years. So they've been sitting on a shelf. They have also made a trip to the Dominican Republic, where I lived for a while, and back. And yeah, so they've sat in their box. They've moved around a bit. So anyway, we're going to clear the energy, because as all things, we collect energy, collects in our houses, which is why I recommend that you smudge, that you do clearings to clear energy, because every time we go out into the world, energy sticks to us and we bring it back. Anytime somebody new enters our home, they bring in energy into our home. So I highly recommend doing clearings regularly just to get out what doesn't serve you. Just get it. Even if you don't believe in it, do it anyway. What's the worst that can happen? So I'm going to clear the energy from this deck. So usually what I do is I'll knock 3 times, and I'll ask Spirit to clear any residual energy off this deck and to help us use this deck moving forward to give the best information that is in the highest and best good of all people involved. and I ask Spirit to guide me in this endeavor. And this ensures that the messaging that is coming out is from Spirit. It is in a positive light. And in this case, we're going to do a collective reading for everybody watching this video. And we'll see what happens. Now, I'm going to pull 3 cards. And I'm going to tell you what my instincts are telling me about these cards. And then we'll have a look and see what it says in the booklet. So what do I do in picking a card? And I think I've said this before in other videos. If people do it all different ways. Some people will shuffle and a card will fall out like it just did there. And that is an indication that Spirit is like, no, you need this card. And so if one jumps out at you, then it's meant for you. Sometimes a card might stick out, or I'll feel this energy pull me towards a certain card, like this one, and I will pick it because I'm using my instincts to say that one screaming at me saying, pick me, pick me. That's what I meant saying anyway. Other times we might just randomly fan them out across a flat surface and feel which one comes to you. Some people claim that they feel like a warmth from the card. Some people, it's an energy that they're feeling. Other people, it's a knowing. So trust your instincts. If you're feeling that's the one for you, then it is definitely the one for you. So I have 3 cards out, and let's see what it has to tell us. So the first card that popped out is this Scales card. And here's what's funny, is this card came out in the video that I did the reading for the audio, didn't record. So the fact that of this whole deck, I think there are 44 cards, the chances that this card would come out again the probability is pretty low, but here we are. So this is this Scales card. And so if I can lean into a collective message meant for anybody watching this video, this is talking about trials, difficulty, going through this hurdle in life, and that it's not over, and it's not going to be over anytime soon. But I'm told that it will eventually get better. Hold on, just keep holding on, that it's going to balance itself out. It's going to balance in your favor. You just have to hold tight through the storm. So on this card, just to show you, it says scales. It obviously has a picture of the scales, which we associate these scales with justice, rightfully. It's usually a pretty universal icon. And it says justice and documents. So again, this is, for me, in this collective reading for you, this is saying that things seem tumultuous right now, whether it's you are literally in some sort of court battle, perhaps custody is the feeling I'm getting. It's not fun, and it's very difficult, and it's weighing on you heavily emotionally, physically, you're exhausted. But Spirit is saying, hold on, that it will end. It will end, but it's not going to end soon, which is why they're telling you to brace yourself. So if we look at in our folder and binder, not a binder, what the hell? Our booklet, if we go, and it's in alphabetical order, so if we look for scales, it says, having a life-work balance review, signing legal documents, signing a lease contract, purchase or sale of something significant can represent things balancing out with legal justice. Again, as a card on its own, yeah, absolutely, that's a great reading. Again, perhaps it's still linking me to the previous video I recorded. It's talking a little bit more the balancing of justice, and there's a bit of a battle happening, and that things will work itself out. In terms of documents, Spirit is actually bringing that forward, which it didn't in the previous video. It's saying that there are documents needed that are going to help prove your point or prove on your side. So keep a thought on that and see what comes of that for you. But they're saying that's pretty important. Now, the next card we get is the groom. Funny. The first time we got bride. So I feel like Spirit is guiding us through a similar reading, and I feel like they're toying with me a little bit. So here we have groom. Before we had bride. Before it was about being tethered to someone and feeling stuck. And there's an element that is the same with this, but it is more leaning towards an enlightenment, that perhaps that stuck relationship from a male perspective, it's somebody coming to learn that they need to make changes in order for things to progress in a relationship in a positive way. So this is a good thing. This is eyes wide open. This is starting to see the light, so to speak. So what it says on here, it says husband, marriage. Could it mean individually, if this card was the only one we pulled, could it mean that somebody's getting married? Sure, absolutely. But in this case, it's tying in with this, right? And this is what happens in a collective agreement, that things will balance out, but there are changes that need to happen. There's some inner work that someone needs to do, and that we need to focus on ourselves in order to help and benefit everybody in the future. So again, if we look it up in our deck, what does groom mean? It says seeing someone marry or getting married to someone else. Yep, absolutely. On its own, for sure. But collectively, no. I'm getting that this is more a tying to this balancing act. So let's see what card 3 says. Birds. Birds. So this all ties in together. To me, this is about reckoning. A reckoning, eyes wide open, moving forward with a different truth or a knowing. And so this is about making changes for the positive in order to move forward to create that positive change. So the change has to happen here in order to move into the future in a positive way. So it's like a rebirth or regrowth, renewal of some kind. So let's see, it says here, news messages. So yeah, we're talking about a change that is going to happen once we start looking inward and we start balancing out those things in our life. Let's take a look what birds mean. So in here it says receiving news, mail, emails, phone calls about something important or not important. Hearing some good news you have been waiting for. So individually, would this mean that, or could this mean that? Absolutely. When it's tied into the others, we're talking that new things will come. So this is like reprogramming, new life messages, if I can be that corny. So collectively, I think that's an interesting reading. Can you take these cards individually and look to see what they mean here and do it? Absolutely, 100%. But I tend to trust either what spirit is telling me when we're doing something collective, because I've got to think of the collective good, not of a single person. And I could say the groom card, someone's getting married. And a number of you would go, oh my gosh, he's so married. And then others will be like, I don't know anybody getting married. Could both be true? Absolutely. But linking to 3 cards that jumped out at me. That's the collective reading that I got. Let me know in the comments if it resonated with you, if there's anything specific that felt right. What was that for you? What hit for you? Yeah, I'm curious. I want to know. So let's interview these cards. So again, I'm going to put the intention that I'm going to ask these cards 3 specific questions to find out what these are about. And let the cards tell us. I know, sounds crazy. We'll see what happens. So my first question is, what's your personality? So let's see what the cards tell us. Asking the question, one fell. What's your personality? Peacock. It's saying pregnancy and wealth. Does that mean these cards are about pregnancy and wealth? Maybe. But in terms of personality, what I get from that is that these cards are prosperous. These cards are meant to help you see better, help you move forward in positive ways, help guide you is what I'm getting from personality. These are good cards to go to if we want to know how to make changes or what changes perhaps need to be made and the how. So curiosity, let's see what it says here. Peacock. This is a very auspicious sign for opulence, abundance, sitting in your own Garden of Eden, or being pregnant. Alternatively, in a spread, it may show someone is showing themselves off to you and by being a peacock and trying to get your attention. So is this deck saying it's attention seeking? Maybe a little, which I think is cute. We shall see. All right, next question. What do you help people feel? What do you help people heal? Let's see, I'm getting this one here. Oh, we got birds again. Do you know how uncommon it is that in a deck of 44, again, 44 cards, that we're getting the same card? So what do you help people heal? Now, birds are talking about news and messages, and we talked about that it could be emails or good news coming. Again, I think it pertains to what we talked about here. And funny, peacock, birds being on both cards here. I think, again, it's telling us that it's helping people move forward. It's helping people get the messages that they need to make change, to move forward in their lives, to help them if they're stuck. So I think that's interesting. And it's bird themed. Very cool. There's a freedom in that as well. All right, last question. What should I know before working with you? Let's see. What should I know before working with you? Moose. How Canadian. Okay, mood. Let's see. It says acceptance, eccentric. All right, so I think it's literally telling us what we need to know is that this deck is accepting of all people. No judgment. There's no judgment. This is all about helping people moving forward. And eccentric, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. This deck is saying, I'm not for all people, but for those I'm for, I'm pretty cool. Yeah, that's how the deck talks. Yeah, pretty cool. That's how it sounds to me. I don't know. But I think that's interesting. Also, if you think of the moose seems very quiet and very peaceful. But if there's one thing a lot of people don't know about moose, they're pretty territorial and they will take you down. They're not into you being in their space. So they look peaceful, but they will take you down. So it's about treating them with respect, keeping them at a distance, knowing what you're dealing with. So I think there's some power in that as well. Out of curiosity, let's see what it says under Moose. Accepting yourself as individual and seeing yourself in all your flaws with grace and love, owning who you are and working with your strengths and weaknesses. Someone may stand out from the pack and be different or eccentric. Sometimes this card can represent shyness. I don't think this deck is shy. I think it's saying, use me wisely. So let me know what you think. Do you agree with my perception of what these answers would be? Do you see it a different way? Let me know. I'm curious. I think interviewing these decks are interesting because what do they have to tell us? How are they guiding us? How do we use them? How best do we use them? I think this deck is beautiful. I think it's poignant. I think it's simple. And I think it's really a great deck if somebody is wanting to try using Oracle decks and seeing what comes of it. And I think it's relatively safe for you to use. I would not say the same about tarot. And just to give you a heads up about that, to me, and I've had other people express the same, tarot is very much, think of it like a Ouija board. So you've got to be careful and you've got to know what you're doing with tarot to make sure that you are not bringing in anything undesired. And so tarot to me is a little bit, I'm cautious about tarot, whereas Oracle decks are meant to be in good fun and not just fun. They're meant to connect you to spirit. And when you ask spirit to guide you through these readings, they will be there for you. So let me know what you think. I want to hear your take on my interview with the Coffee Cup Oracle deck. And I will leave the information, if I can find it, in the description. And I look forward to doing this again. See you next time.